Well, hello everybody. My name is Mike Dermanowil Jr. I'm the president of Dermanowil Insurance Group. And what you're about to watch for about the next 30 minutes is our latest version of our safety video that is designed specifically for churches and schools. Now, if you've seen this presentation before, you're going to recognize several aspects of it from prior years, and that's because on this entire subject of safety, there's really not a lot of new information. We're going to explain a lot of things about how to remain safe in the workplace. One question you might have is this really relevant to my job? Is it relevant to my ministry? Is it relevant to even what I'm doing here today? I guess I'd have to answer that by asking you a question, and that is, have you looked at your budget lately, at your school or at your church? Things are tight. God's resources are being stretched very thin right now. And safety and our workplace accident record is one of those areas that we have control over as an employee. And so if we're maintaining a safe workplace, if we're doing our job, chances are we can control that cost. And that's why we invest our time to help inform you as to how to do that. So over about the next 25 or 30 minutes, you'll be getting some tips, seeing some scenes from prior years, but I hope coming to a fundamental understanding and agreement that this is a very important topic. Now, there really is two things that keep me up at night when I'm thinking about my clients and thinking about you. One is there accountability in our ministry for all of us acting in a safe manner? Do we have a ministry that encourages risk-taking or unsafe behavior, or turns the other way when we see something happening where one of our fellow staff members could get hurt? Well, that's a recipe for disaster. That bothers me. Everybody needs to take inventory of what they're having their people do, what they're allowing them to do. You don't want to take the fun out of everybody's job, but at the same time you have to measure the risks of everything that we do in a church or in a school. Second, I think it's critically important that we have the right people in the right positions. When we hire people, we understand that they're physically capable of doing their job. Most of the worst injuries I see today, whether it be in a church and school or any other industry, the employer's made a decision about hiring that has immediately placed that employee in physical jeopardy because they simply can't physically handle the tasks of doing what they're doing. So really two things to focus on this year, really at the top of my mind. I'd like to put them at the top of your mind. Hiring the right people that can do the job, that have the physical capabilities of doing that job properly, and then holding each other accountable, making sure that everybody on our campus is acting in a safe manner. If we can do that, we can go 80% of the way toward controlling our costs for workers' comp, keeping our injury rates down, and making sure we have a great and a safe and a fun year. What I'd love the most is if we could, 1 year from today, look back and we could look at each other and say, we accomplished something. We went the entire year without an accident. That's critically important in this day and age when our ministry budgets are tight, our school enrollment is soft, and there just aren't the dollars available to pay the cost of having excessive workers' comp claims. So sit back, enjoy, and hopefully you'll take something important away from this safety video today. If you want to inspire a great debate in Christian schools, just talk about footwear. I'm telling you right now, wars have been fought over this issue. But as you go around campus, you'll see people wearing footwear that, maybe a little suspect for doing the job right and doing the job safe. As you're going to see, if you have improper footwear, you could wind up getting hurt. Not only is this person walking downstairs carrying something but not holding a handrail, and if you look at their shoes, they really shouldn't be walking up and downstairs with those shoes because of the heel. So folks, hold the handrails when you're walking up and downstairs, and if you have to carry something, have somebody help you. I'm with Gabe Laurenti now. Gabe is our loss control manager and a former fireman. Now, we ran across this situation at a school that we're visiting. And Gabe, what do you think about this hallway?
Well, Mike, when you're thinking about ways of exiting a building in an emergency environment, you want to make sure that all walkways and exits are free of clutter. And we'll just take this as an example. This impedes from people getting out of a building safely. And so I highly recommend that you take a look at your hallways and your means of egress so you can keep the area clear in the event of an emergency.
Now, we know throughout the day we're battling housekeeping issues, right? We have hundreds of kids, we have backpacks, we have all kinds of things going on at school. It's important to manage that effort every day, every minute of every day. So if you see something like this, you need to deal with it, because if not, people will be tripping and falling, or if they have to get out, it'll be harder for them to do so, and that'll make the students and the employees less safe.
This is another one of the things that we see typically is a fire extinguisher in a cabinet surrounded by a lot of clutter. And this would impede somebody from getting to the fire extinguisher in the event of a small fire. So you want to, the reminder here is to keep the areas clean and clear where the fire extinguisher is, and also electrical panels. You want to make sure that they have enough clearance, and that's also required by the fire department.
Another hazard we see in an office setting are cords that are not properly stowed and battened down, like these here. Now, these are kind of loose. They're sort of loosely bundled. But folks, if you have heeled shoes on, you're working in an office, you're going to get caught on these and you're going to trip and fall. These have got to be put out of the way. They've got to be battened down properly and secured with a tie strip so that you don't trip and fall over them. All right, guys, I think we need to get a little shot of these cords and hoses here. Unfortunately, I can't file a workers' comp claim against my own company. You don't want to be in this position, do you? Look at me, I'm a wreck, okay? Papers everywhere, I'm laying on the cords. But too often, this is what happens to teachers. Here's the difference. I have people here to help me up. I don't know if your students can do that.
What we have here is Tammy's workstation, and you will notice that Tammy is actually looking down at her screen. And the reason for that is because it's not adjusted ergonomically. And so if we did a simple adjustment, for example, of lifting the monitor up a few inches, then she wouldn't be looking down at the monitor, or the screen. She would be looking directly straight forward. And so that will alleviate a lot of the injuries or associated with shoulder, neck strains. Also, what we have here is we have Tammy's keyboard. There's no keyboard pad, and her elbows are not 90 degrees. Perhaps she's using the wrong chair. The chair that she's using should have armrest, so she can rest her elbows and not cause strain on her shoulders and her neck area.
Now, as we transition into understanding the threats in the ministry workplace, we really have to have an honest conversation about age. Now, this slide that you're taking a look at now, you'll see a sample from 55 different ministries of claims that occurred between January of 2007 and June 30th of 2010. It is probably not a surprise to you that we have very few claims in the age 1 through 19 age group, about 8, and they only average about $700 a piece. Now, as we move into the 20 to 29 category, you see we have quite a few more injuries, 76 all told, but still only an average of about $2,160 per claim. Notice, though, as we start moving through the bands, 30 through 39, 59 claims, an average of $4,722. And then we go to 40 through 49, 93 claims, $7,923. 50 through 59, 102 claims, $9,005. And then finally, 60 through 69, 48 claims, averaging $10,714. I think we have a number of lessons we can draw upon from looking at just this graphic. Number one, the older you get, the more injury prone you are. And second, if you are hurt, you're going to take longer to recover. So as you're thinking about the activities that you're involved in day and day out, consider your own age. It really does play a factor in whether or not you as an employee can be a part of a safe workplace. So you're probably wondering, well, gosh, how are all these people getting hurt? What are the causes of loss? Well, by far and away, the greatest number of injuries we see in ministry workplace is falls, slips, and trips, 105 altogether, averaging about $7,191. Then we have strains, and these can be upper and lower body, they can be trunk. These are over $1 million in claims in the last 5 years, or an average of $11,543. Then we have those of you out there on the playground being struck by different objects, $2,318 a piece. Those are usually medical only, not a lot of lost time. Then we have cuts and punctures, $2,376, and then a miscellaneous category for the balance. But by far and away, you can see that slips, trips, and falls and strains are the leading causes of injuries, and these are really the ones we have to pay the most attention to. Now, finally, we talked a little bit about body parts earlier, but I thought I would categorize these for you so you could see. We had 45 knee injuries in the last 5 years with this selected group of ministries. The average, $14,296. So you can see, you're not just injuring your knee if you're standing in a stationary place. There's a lot of reasons why people are injuring their knees, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. Then we have injuries to the spine, 51 of those, $7,521 a piece on average. Hands and wrists, these are generally workspace injuries, 43 of those, $8,349. And then, believe it or not, shoulders, 20 of those, $17,381. That's the highest cost for a body part that we have in our sampling. And then ankles and feet make up the balance at about $3,597 a piece. But you could see these are the 5 areas of the average claim in a Christian ministry, and this is where the dollars are spent year over year. And that's why you've got to focus on protecting those parts of your body as you go about doing your job. There are really 10 mistakes that I see employers making over and over again with regard to workers' comp and employee safety. First of all, not having an up-to-date safety program as required by SB 198 in California. That's a must. And the safety regulations do change from time to time, and as employers, we've got to stay on top of that. And as a ministry, we really need to stay on top of it. The second thing is, we really don't have enough safety meetings throughout the year. And I know it's busy, and I hear all the time, Mike, I can't get people all in one place, or, we just don't have the time scheduled. Need to make the time to have safety training and safety meetings. These can be 5 or 10 minutes, but to keep the issue top of mind awareness out there, you have to pre-calendar it and pre-schedule it throughout the year. Third, a lot of schools and churches, they don't know what to do when there's a claim. You have to have a written claim handling policy and procedure, or else some claims could get botched pretty badly, and we don't want that to happen. Fourth, allowing unsafe conditions on campus. When we become aware of a condition on campus that could cause an injury, we have an obligation to fix it and do something about it. And we have to make that a daily occurrence, searching out and looking for situations like that. The fifth mistake that employers make over and over again is failing to make modified duty available to injured workers. We have to make the modified duty available because when they are injured, but they can come back and do part of their job, well, we need to give them that opportunity. And it helps them recover faster, and we want them to come back to work so that they'll heal a little bit quicker. Now, this is a little bit of a touchy subject, but at times I've seen some compromise in the hiring process. Maybe we've not hired a person that's fit for the job, or a person that maybe has the moral and spiritual commitment to the ministry as the rest of our staff does. I've seen that blow up time and time again. We've got to be real careful about who we hire, because that really is the first opportunity to to have an employee that is committed to a safe workplace. Secondly, there's still too many risky activities out there being allowed by our churches and schools. Too many staff members doing things that are going to ultimately wind up causing them to get hurt. And I'm providing a list of those to you today, my top 10 list, in just a few minutes. Not having a discipline policy with regard to employee safety. If people are knowingly and willfully violating safety policy and procedure, there's got to be discipline for that, just like anything else, especially if that violation could cost the ministry thousands of dollars over time because of workplace injuries. I think another issue that's critically important to us is that we forget to set goals for safety. We set goals to bring up academics, and we set goals to bring up all other parts of what we're doing, but we don't set a goal for the year. And the goal for the year should simply be accident-free for the entire year. We need to set the goal, put it in writing, everybody agree to it, rally around it, and work hard to accomplish it. And then lastly, I think there's times where we put people in the wrong positions. I think there's times where maybe we've had staff cutbacks and we have people that are doing jobs that really aren't the job that we hired them to do. They don't have the training to do it, so they wind up hurting themselves in the process of doing that job. Well, we can't be taking risks like that in this environment. We're in a real tough economic situation. Workers' comp is a cost we can control, but the employers have to avoid these top 10 mistakes. If they can avoid these mistakes, you got a much better chance of going injury-free throughout the year. Now, I've talked about the need for safety training, and so what I want to do is suggest some topics. Kitchen and food service safety is always an issue where you have food service in the ministry. Transportation, vehicles, driver training, bloodborne pathogens, MRSA, hepatitis prevention, personal protective equipment and the need to have that, workstation comfort, especially in front of computers, proper use of ladders, preventing trips and falls, preventing back injuries, safe usage of chemicals, and golf cart safety. These are all topics that you can address fairly easily year-round in 5 to 10 minute sessions. The important thing is keeping the issue of safety in front of your staff. If you do that, your record will be clean year after year. Well, now that you know what you know about workers' comp and employee safety, I want you to know we have several resources available for you and your staffs that you can rely on throughout the year. First of all, Gabe Laurenti. Gabe is our risk manager and loss control specialist. He's out at your campuses doing safety training and helping your maintenance teams and others with their safety needs. Second, Matt Havens. Now, Matt is our workers' comp claims advocate, and Matt is the one that helps you navigate through the system, talks to claim adjusters, and answers your questions there. And then Amy Radix is our private client services coordinator. Now, Amy puts those safety resources in your hands. So if you ever want to have a safety meeting and you need a topic, you can contact Amy and she'll get that right out to you. Also on this DVD, we've put quite a few forms and quite a few programs that are embedded in the actual DVD, and you can use those also throughout the year. Just another service from Derman & Will Insurance Group. Well, by now you've watched for about the last 30 minutes. You've seen all the safety tips you can handle, I'm sure, for this week. But I really would like you to take a few things away from what you've just seen. Ask yourself a couple questions. First of all, am I committed? Am I committed personally to going through this year without injuring myself? Second, am I willing to be part of an accountability team at my ministry that will strive to have an injury-free workplace for the next 365 days? Am I willing to understand that this is not a joke, it's not something to be unserious about, but this really does involve God's money, God's resources, and the stewardship of those resources? Those are three questions I think if you can walk out of the room after this and you say in the affirmative, I'm committed, then I think you're in for a great year and you'll take a look back and you'll really appreciate this time. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, you can go to our website, www.dmig.com, and you can find all the resources you need there. Thank you for watching.